We know that the government wrongfully took money from nursing home residents over a period of several years, and that when the government learned of this, previous governments learned of this, their reaction was secrecy, subterfuge, and a strategy to fight tooth and nail to avoid paying those people back, paying them back the money that was wrongfully taken from them. Now, on top of that, we learned last night from RTE Investigates that the state denied up to 12,000 vulnerable people their disability allowance payments. The response, when the government learned of it at the time, more secrecy and more subterfuge. So when faced with the choice of fulfilling their moral duty to the state's most vulnerable citizens or hiding from it, the state chose the latter. And it's really instructive, I think, to recall what was going on in this country at the time. So when all of this emerged, or when it became known to the government, it didn't emerge because they wanted it kept secret. 2009, 2010, 2011. You might remember Enda Kenny gave a speech around then. It was July 2011 to be precise, in the Dáil in the wake of the Klein report. And he was heaped with praise for that speech. In particular, an accusation that he made that the church was guilty of hiding behind the legal advice of gimlet-eyed canon lawyers. And it turns out his government were at the exact same thing. The previous government were at the exact same thing. Successive governments have been at the exact same thing. All of them denying, or disguising rather, their moral cowardice with the cloak of legal advice. That's what we keep hearing about, the legal advice. Now, I don't expect the government to solve all of my problems. I don't think the government should even be trying to solve all of my problems. I do think, though, at the very least, what governments should be doing is fulfilling their moral duty to the most vulnerable citizens in this state. And in that they are failing. They are failing when it comes to nursing homes. They are failing on disability allowance. They are failing when it comes to mental health, in particular child and adolescent mental health. We learned that last week. They are failing when it comes to special needs intervention. Failure after failure after failure after failure. And if you think that failure ends because of these stories over the last few days, well, you haven't been paying attention. There seems to be an institutional aversion in this country to helping out certain citizens. And I don't know why that is. Despite all of the coverage we've provided to some of these stories and more on this show and elsewhere, I still cannot understand why that is.